Hey folks, Vic here for thepracticalprepper.com, and we have been a little bit lax in getting our water reserves refilled. Once we made the move here to Nevada, we've had so many other things going on. But I'm getting ready to refill ours, but I thought I'd give you just kind of a brief overview of what I'm doing here for the moment. Hopefully later on I want to put in some much larger storage tanks for reserve water. We're on a well here, so we pump everything. One of the things that I kind of use, and we have this up on the website, this is the United States Army water use guidelines, and it kind of goes through boiling, chlorine bleach, granular calcium hypochlorite, and tincture of iodine, some other methods, and then on the back it's got some bulk applications. So if you're using, for example, sodium hypochlorite, how many pounds or how many ounces to how many 400 gallons or 500 gallons. This is real good. Now, this is for emergency disinfection of water. So I categorize water as stored and preserved and emergency decontamination for drinking. This will help with decontamination. So what I'm doing today is I'm going to store water for an indefinite period of time, probably at least 5 years. And a lot of places, a lot of things tell you that you can't do that, that water goes bad. Water that's treated and stored doesn't go bad. You would have to introduce something into there after you have treated it and sealed it to ever have that happen. Now, the product that I use, I don't use sodium hypochlorite. That is a chemical. It's not really designed for human consumption, and really neither is bleach. But I use a different product, and it's called water preserver. It's this one right here. And if you do a little bit of research, what you find is that water preserver was created for the storage, a long-term storage of water, not for immediate emergency use of water. So this has been designed for human consumption. It's been tested for 10 years. I had personally used this in the containers behind me for 3 years, and pulled a bunch of that water out and used it, and it was just like the day I put it in. So this stuff works. This is what I use, and this stuff is not too expensive when you're considering this is your water supply. So if there's a little brochure, of course, directions for use that comes with it when you buy it. Also, you can go to their website and you can kind of do a little more research as to why. But it's proven. It was designed. I've used it, and I'm sold on the product, and it's the only thing that I will ever use. So let me show you real quick. Behind me, what I'm going to use right now are 255 gallon and a 30 gallon. I actually had another 30 gallon, and I got stupid, and I left the bungs open and exposed, and it got contaminated, so I won't use it. These have been sealed, and I've just opened them up now to get them ready, but I also wanted to show you a little difference in the pumping. Now, one thing that you kind of have to address is that once these are filled with water being a little more than 8 pounds a gallon, these you just don't move around. And you really don't do it with a standard dolly. You really need a tank, more of a tank dolly or a drum dolly. So what I do is I spend the money, and these are around 60 bucks, and they're all metal. They're on casters, and once you filled it, you can roll that water just about anywhere you want to. You can find these at Granger's, you can find them at Uline. We actually have them up on the gear tab. I think we've got the Uline model here, which is really one of the least expensive that I've found. Granger's were a little bit more, but hell, half the time you couldn't get them, so kind of a pain. But this is what I'm going to use now. Over time, I've ended up picking up more pumps. So this is kind of a standard pump that you would find if you bought, let's say, a tank. If you bought one of these with a pump, say in a kit, from someplace, what you're going to end up with is probably this kind of pump. And they actually work pretty darn well. This one has the adapter, which I'll take off. But what you'll find on these is that whatever model you have, it's either going to come in, step up here and show you. It's either going to come in this really fine thread or it's going to come in a coarse thread. It doesn't really matter because one of your bungs on these particular drums, one is going to be a coarse thread, the other one's going to be a fine thread. So no matter what pump you have, it's going to sit on here and screw right in. And once you have it screwed down, put your spigot on over the side, pull this up, you're ready to pump. There's two more pieces that go on the bottom. That's the pickup tube. That's in the kit here. And then you've got another little kit right here which assembles these together. So pretty much everything you have is in the box, and it's going to be one of these little, just like this, plastic drum pump. It's nothing spectacular. They may come in different boxes, but either way, they're kind of all the same thing. This particular pump here, which is a different one I have, this one's a coarse thread. And this is fixed. You can't take this off, which is fine, but it's the same kind of pump. So the only other way to do that is to drop a hose in here. And if you got a little 120 volt or 12 volt pump, you could set that up and you could pump your water out that way. If you need to move a lot, that's probably the better way to do it. So I wanted to show you these three. Now another thing that I use, and I use these a lot, and these are the 5 gallon, and I think they make them in 5 or 6. These are highly portable. So for me, one of these stays in my truck all the time. It's treated so I can drink it, or I can use it for whatever I want to, but these are real handy. They've got a siphon on them and a spigot, so I'm sure you guys have used these camping, and it's a lot of what I use them for. I use them on hunting, camping, fishing trips, but I keep one in the back of mine for emergencies all the time. So that's another style. So basically with this particular style, it's pretty simple on the preserver. Each one of these preservers is designed to treat 55 gallons. So this entire thing right here will treat 55 gallons, and it's pretty simple. It actually has an eyedropper. And if you want to just use it by drops in a smaller container, it tells you how many drops per, just like bleach is 8 drops a gallon. But for 55 gallon, it's just pretty simple. You just, well, you can pop this out. You can take out the little dropper and then just pour the whole container in. And that barely has any bleach smell, barely. And then what I've hooked up here is I use this, and whenever I fill my stuff, I spent about, I don't know, 20 bucks and made up this little valve because I'm pumping inside and I want to be able to shut the water on and off. So I know that this hose comes from a clean source, and I also take the end of it and I'll use a little Clorox drop, little Clorox rag, and I'll wipe off the end and I'll flush it. I'll wash this before I use it, so I know that everything's as clean as I can make it right here, and it's as clean as it comes out of the ground. So with that, all I really do is set it on top and open the valve, and then I can fill this up as much as I want to, keeping an eye on it. So I can put a little weight up here of some kind, and I can just kind of let it fill. I don't really have to watch it. So we'll get these filled up. Now this is going to give me 110, 140 gallons of water. I use the rule of thumb 2 gallons per person per day minimum, absolute minimum. So for the 2 of us, this is going to last us around 35 days. I don't expect it to be off that long. We're on a well. I've got a generator. The only thing I don't have is one other means to get water from the well. So I'm really still relying on my pump. But we'll kind of be taking a look at that as we kind of make more improvements on the homestead here. So with that, I just kind of wanted to go over the water and kind of explain a couple things. There's more information on the website. If you go up on the free info, you can find some of the things that I've talked about, the the sheets, and we can find the water preserver over in the gear shop. So hope this helps you a little bit. If you got any questions, please let me know. Thanks, take care.